Good morning, my brothers and sisters, and all my friends. This morning we are going to talk about part 7 of our series, India as the Leader of 21st Century. This morning we would like to talk about the Indian doctor, the Indian medical services, and we would like to dedicate the Indian medical knowledge in the service of humanity. Of course, we are talking about business. Of course, we are talking about the power, soft power of India. And we are, of course, talking about the Indian leadership of 21st century. Yet, we could have an attitude of service along with this business. And for that, we don't have to be the victims of idealism. But at the same time, we could have that attitude of service to the humanity which is required in 21st century. And I would like to recall the example which we did yesterday. We sent a satellite in the orbit, a communication satellite, which we dedicated to the Southeast Asian and South Asia, all the countries in South Asia, to help the communication revolution, to begin a new age of communication in this region. And that's our regional cooperation. There had been many other examples, the way many other people have used. I'm not talking about any other countries specifically, but the way the economics had been used for the personal advantage or the national advantage. No country have done till today what India did yesterday. If there is any chance, all other countries and all other people think about business, how to make money out of. Even there had been a trend, international trend of so-called international aid, the international help to the developing world. But it was basically a trick to exploit that nation, that budding nation, the developing nation. It's a hard fact. And we don't have to feel bad about it because the business is done this way, because it is founded on greed and gluttony. It is founded on the profit mongering to get the maximum benefit out of your economic activity. That's what the economics we have today in the world. The present economics has two real bad things, two real bad attitudes. One is the attitude of scarcity. We have provided a whole big philosophy of the economics of scarcity. And we have based all our economic activity on demand and supply, the market. But my dear friends, this is a wrong idea to have the economics of scarcity because it's unnatural. The nature doesn't do that way. Nature creates abundance. Out of one grain, thousands of grains are produced by nature. So that's natural. So we are bad students of economics because we don't want to learn from the nature, because we want to exploit the humanity. And the second in our economics is that any way, if you can make profit, that's legitimate. It is not. We cannot call exploitation of the masses as profit. And if we define that as profit, believe me, we can define, we have a choice to define any bad act on the planet. And that's the law of convenience we are practicing all over the globe. But yesterday, India proved that we could give a gift even, which is a great economic gift, which will revolutionize the communication, regional communication, an era of communication revolution in South Asia through that satellite. And we dedicated that satellite without any strings attached or any business deals attached with it. It's the simple act of charity and help, and a regional cooperation in the true sense. So we have that attitude. India has that attitude, and we could do that. We could do business with that attitude. So when I talk about today about the Indian doctor, we want to dedicate the Indian medical knowledge in the service of humanity. And how could we do that? Doesn't matter about the protective legislations and the walls of China they are erecting around all the developed world, with America in the lead, and they have already started building a wall around Mexico and US border. And this protectionism is ill-conceived, and their universe will collapse on itself, because a closed universe always condemned to collapse on itself. So we will practice the service and business together with the humanity. And our Indian doctors will form joint ventures with the Indian Diaspora. We have Indian people settled, people of Indian origin, settled all over the planet. And they are our brothers and sisters, and we will make the joint ventures with them. And we will form and found the medical universities, medical cities even, medical towns, where we could provide medical services to the whole nation wherever we go. For example, if we go to Mauritius, we have our own people around there. We could form a joint venture with a like-minded business people in Mauritius and start a medical university, along with a research center, along with the medical hospitals and medical facilities, and to run the whole business as a town, a medical city. And we could find the jobs for our human resources, which are well trained in medical sciences and medical education. And we could follow the same model of these medical cities and medical universities and medical research centers all over the globe. So our doctors will be teaching in those universities. Our medical doctors will be providing research work in those universities, that medical cities. They will provide the medical services. And also our pharmaceutical industry will help that nation through our generic drugs, because we are the pioneers in the generic drugs. We destroyed practically the monopoly of the Western pharmaceutical companies. They are only surviving because of the big power they have behind of those nations, of developed nations. Otherwise, there is no reason for them to survive. Because they sell their drugs at very high prices. Whereas we could sell the same molecule of the drug, of generic drugs, at down-to-earth prices. Don't you think the humanity needs that? Don't you think humanity needs India? Yes, humanity needs India. We have to serve humanity. Our leadership is not based on aggression. Our leadership is not based on self-glory and aggrandizement. But our leadership of 21st century is based on service, the attitude of service and the peace and progress and prosperity of all. Because we have the foundation, our attitude is decided. Doesn't matter if it is business activity or social activity or any other cultural or civilizational activity. Everything is decided, rooted into the universal empathy, the Vaishnava Bhav. So how could we play around with the profit mongering? We don't need to. We have that knowledge and wisdom. We don't have to live like caterpillars. We are butterflies. We have already evolved mentally. India has that civilizational and cultural strengths of wisdom, and the wisdom tradition of ancient India has all those powers, all those resources, wisdom resources, that we could transform the whole planet and we could establish the great ecosystem, global ecosystem of peace, progress and prosperity for all. And that's our job. That must be our goal. When I talk about 21st century leadership, it doesn't mean that we have to dominate the humanity. No, my dear friends. We work like, I give you a small example of, we would work like the molecule of chlorophyll. The molecule of chlorophyll is a very humble molecule, but it has the attitude of universal welfare as big as the whole universe. The greatest, the biggest circle of compassion, which can embody, which can embrace the whole universe, that is the molecule of chlorophyll. And when the molecule of chlorophyll has that attitude, that big circle of compassion to embrace the whole universe, the whole earth, then it is allowed the dominion. As it says in Bible, God made the man in his own image and then he gave him the 3 commandments. Go and multiply, be fruitful, and be the tree of life. And then God said the 4th, along with these 3. And what was that? To go and take the dominion. Our dominion is not crusade. Our dominion is not jihad. Our dominion is service. Like molecule of chlorophyll. And then molecule of chlorophyll was allowed to take the dominion of the whole earth, and it made the earth whole green everywhere. That's the attitude of Lord Shiva. When you don't exist, you only exist for service. You become the embodiment of that universal welfare. You become that attribute, the divine attribute. Then you don't need to practice your ego. You become egoless. Like water. You don't need to insist on your identity of form, color, the taste, the smell, all those cognitive apparatus. You don't need that. So India will be serving the whole humanity through the medical knowledge. And we will be founding all the universities and the medical cities not only the allopathic, but also the Ayurvedic medicines and the generic drugs. So the whole industry will find a place and a market in those medical cities. And also not only the market, but a place to serve humanity. And we will transform the way business is done on planet. We will do the business with service, like the molecule of chlorophyll. We will take the dominion of the whole planet. We will be the leaders of the humanity in 21st century through service. And we will transform the humanity, and we will wean away the humanity, take away the humanity from the culture of violence and culture of aggression and culture of profit mongering and the culture of exploitation and the culture of scarcity, the economics of scarcity. We will transform the economics of scarcity into the economics of abundance. We have that potential and we have those wisdom resources, my dear friends, my brothers and sisters. Let's join hands and hearts together, and we do take the dominion of the whole planet and the whole humanity as the true leaders of humankind in 21st century. Thank you very much and have a very, very beautiful day.